Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we are going to strip away the surface of the biological world to look at something hidden deep within the architecture of your own cells. Buried beneath layers of evolutionary innovation and the shuffling of millennia, there is a code that technically should not exist. We are talking about ghost genes. These are sequences of nucleotides, adenine, cytosine, guanine, thymine, that spell out instructions for proteins that have not been synthesized on Earth for billions of years. They are molecular echoes of a world that vanished long before the first dinosaur drew breath, and perhaps before the planet had fully cooled. For decades, these sequences were invisible to us, dismissed as junk DNA, or lost in the background noise of the genome. But recently, a revolution in computational biology, driven by artificial intelligence and a technique called Ancestral Sequence Reconstruction, or ASR, has allowed scientists to do what was once considered impossible. We are no longer just reading the history of life, we are resurrecting it. From enzymes that thrived in an oxygen-free atmosphere 2.6 billion years ago, to the theoretical reconstruction of the first Universal Common Ancestor, or LUCA, we are now holding the genetic blueprints of the primordial Earth in our hands. Let's dive into the science of these Lazarus machines. The most tangible proof of ghost DNA comes not from fossils in the ground, but from the living fossils hidden in the code of bacteria. In a breakthrough that stunned the scientific community in the mid-2020s, researchers didn't just find an ancient gene. They rebuilt it and made it work. The story begins with CRISPR. Most of us know CRISPR as a gene editing tool, but in nature, it is an immune system. It is a database of viral mugshots that bacteria use to recognize and chop up invading bacteriophages. Like any language, this code evolves. The CRISPR systems in modern bacteria are vastly different from their ancestors. In a landmark study, researchers used powerful algorithms to compare the CRISPR-Cas proteins of hundreds of modern species. By tracing the family tree backwards, node by node, and calculating the most likely amino acid at every position for a common ancestor, they arrived at a sequence that existed 2.6 billion years ago. This wasn't just a simulation. They synthesized the DNA sequence, injected it into a modern bacterium, and waited. The result was electric. The ancient protein, dubbed a Lazarus enzyme, folded perfectly. It hunted down viruses and cut DNA. But it did so with a blunt, versatile power that modern enzymes lack. Evolution has honed modern enzymes to be specialists. But this ancient ghost was a generalist, a multi-tool designed for a chaotic, hostile world where threats were unpredictable. The timing of this gene, 2.6 billion years ago, is no accident. It dates back to the Great Oxidation Event, the moment when cyanobacteria began pumping oxygen into the atmosphere, poisoning the anaerobic life that dominated the planet. The structural stability of the resurrected protein suggests it evolved in a hot, acidic environment, rapidly adapting as the Earth's chemistry began to rust. This ghost is a witness to the moment Earth changed forever. If we go back even further, we encounter LUCA, the Last Universal Common Ancestor. For a long time, LUCA was a mathematical abstraction, the theoretical point where the branches of bacteria, archaea, and eukaryotes converge. But recent work in 2024 and 2025 has transformed LUCA from a concept into a concrete biological entity. By analyzing universal paralogs, genes that duplicated before the split of the major domains of life, scientists have triangulated the existence of LUCA to approximately 4.2 billion years ago. The reconstructed genome of LUCA is shocking, because it suggests a complex, sophisticated organism, not a primitive blob. It likely possessed a genome of roughly 2.5 million base pairs, coding for about 600 proteins. It had a functioning immune system and a membrane. Most importantly, the ghost genes of LUCA tell us it was an anaerobic acetogen. It lived in a world without oxygen, likely in the superheated mineral-rich vents of a hydrothermal system. It ate hydrogen gas and carbon dioxide, knitting them together to make organic molecules, fueled by the geochemical energy of the Earth itself. We can even see that it used a reverse gyrase enzyme, a hallmark of hyperthermophiles that live in boiling water. This ghost DNA tells us that life didn't tiptoe onto the stage. It stormed in, fully equipped to handle a hellscape. However, LUCA was already modern. It used the same genetic code of DNA to RNA to protein that we use today. This implies that the true origin lies even deeper, with the first Universal Common Ancestor, or LUCA. The ghost genes of LUCA are not found in any one organism, but are embedded in the logic of molecular biology itself. LUCA was likely a population of progenotes existing in the RNA world before DNA existed. The ultimate ghost gene here is the ribosome, the cellular machine that builds proteins. By peeling back the layers of the ribosome structure, scientists have identified an accretion model of evolution. The center of the ribosome is the oldest part, a small RNA knot that likely formed by chance. Deep in that central knot lies the ghost of the RNA world, a fossilized echo of a time when the genetic code was still in flux. Simulations suggest that the genetic code itself evolved from a simpler binary code, classifying amino acids simply as hydrophobic or hydrophilic, before expanding to the complex system we know today, We still carry this binary logic in the deep structure of our enzymes. We are effectively running software version 10, but the kernel of version 1 is still buried in the source code. But not all ghost genes are our ancestors. Some are our conquerors. At least 8% of your DNA is not human at all. It is viral. These are the endogenous retroviruses, or ERVs, fossilized remains of ancient plagues. When a retrovirus infects a germline cell, its code can be passed down to offspring. Over millions of years, these become ghosts trapped in the genome. But they are not always silent. Some have been co-opted. The most famous example is syncytin. This is a gene essential for the formation of the human placenta, allowing cells to fuse to create the barrier between mother and fetus. But syncytin is not a human gene. It is a viral envelope gene, the same tool a virus uses to fuse with a host cell. Millions of years ago, an ancient infection gave our mammalian ancestors the ability to give live birth. We domesticated a monster. Another example is the ARC gene, which is crucial for memory formation. It forms capsid-like structures that ferry genetic material between neurons. This gene is derived from an ancient retrotransposon. This implies that our very ability to think and remember is powered by the repurposed machinery of an ancient brain virus. Beyond these domesticated ghosts lies the viral dark matter. Metagenomic studies have revealed that up to 40% of viral sequences found in human gut and environmental samples match nothing in known databases. These are orphan sequences, debris of a microscopic war that has been raging since the Hadean Eon. As we move closer to the present, the ghosts become more personal. We carry the DNA of human species that no longer exist. In 2010, the discovery of the Denisovans changed our understanding of history. But recently, AI models have found something even more elusive. Analyzing the genomes of modern West African populations, scientists found that about 2 to 19% of their genetic ancestry comes from a ghost population. This was an archaic human species that split from our lineage around 650,000 years ago and interbred with the ancestors of West Africans as recently as 43,000 years ago. We have no fossils of this group. No skulls, no tools. The only evidence they ever existed is the sequence of letters hiding in the DNA of people living today. They are a statistical species, inferred solely from the shadows they cast on our genome. These ghost genes influence our immune systems and metabolism. We are hybrids, walking museums of extinct humanities. This leads us to a tantalizing question. If we can find the DNA of extinct life, could there be life on Earth today that is not related to us at all? This is the Shadow Biosphere hypothesis. The idea is that life may have emerged more than once. Standard life won the war for resources, but a second genesis might have survived in the margins. One possibility is mirror life, organisms that use biological molecules with the opposite chirality, or handedness, of ours. All known life uses left-handed amino acids. A shadow biosphere might use right-handed ones. Our standard DNA sequencing tools would be blind to this, as they rely on primers that target our specific kind of DNA. While we haven't found a shadow biosphere yet, the study of ghost genes is the training ground for finding it. The same techniques used to predict LUCA are being used to simulate what alternative genetic codes might look like, aiding the search for life on Mars or Europa. Finally, the resurrection of ghost genes is driving a new frontier in synthetic biology called paleobiotechnology. Modern enzymes are evolved for 37 degrees Celsius and oxygen. Ancient enzymes evolved in a cauldron of extremes. Biotech companies are mining this deep time record to resurrect heat shock proteins for industrial manufacturing and ancient antiviral defenses that modern bacteria have never encountered. There is even a project to resurrect the metabolic pathway of LUCA, to create a biological system that fixes carbon dioxide with the efficiency of the primordial Earth. There is a profound humility in this science. It forces us to realize that the modern world is just a thin veneer over a deep, ancient substrate. Every time your cells divide, they use a machine invented before the continents existed. Every time you form a memory, you use a repurposed virus. We are time travelers, carrying the history of the planet in every nucleus. As AI continues to refine our ability to read the dark matter of the genome, we will find more ghosts, mapping the dead ends of the tree of life. The DNA of the past is not gone, it is just waiting for us to learn how to read it. And now that we can, the ghosts are finally speaking. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.